Hello children, welcome back to 9th standard science class. In the last class, we were discussing about Rutherford's model of atom, children. I hope you have learnt about Rutherford's model in 8th standard. Let us recall what are the features of Rutherford's model of atom and what are the drawbacks of this model of atom. Now, Rutherford conducted experiments in which he selected very thin gold foil of about 1000 atoms thick. Why he selected gold foil only? It can be hammered into very thin sheet. He wanted as thin sheet possible. So he selected gold, highly malleable metal, and just 1000 atoms thick, 1000 atoms thin sheet he used for his experiment. What he did? He passed alpha particles, fast moving alpha particles through the gold foil. What happened? He expected that the particles must be deflected from that, but he got unexpected results. He thought that most of the particles may deflect from the gold atoms, but his expected results he did not get. Most unexpected results he got when what he did, children? Fast moving alpha particles. Fast moving alpha particles. Alpha, you know the symbol which is used. Alpha particles through the gold foil. Through the gold atoms or gold foil. What happened? It consists of atoms of gold. So when fast moving alpha particles are passed through the gold foil, what he expected, most of the alpha particles may deflect from the atoms of gold, but that did not happen. Most of the these are alpha particles movement, and most of the alpha particles, observe here, they passed through the gold atoms, gold foil, without any deflection. You can observe here, see here, all these, most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil without any deflection. And he also observed that very small portion of alpha particles, means only some alpha particles, look at here, they deflected in very small angles from the gold foil. So most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil without any deflection, but in small angles only some alpha particles deflected. Look at here and deflected from there. Look at here, deflected from there. So some alpha particles only deflected in small angles, and for his surprise, 1 out of every 12,000 particles about to rebound from there. So that what conclusions he made, depending on the observations or depending on the observations of his experiment, what conclusions he made? Since most of the alpha particles passed through the gold foil without any deflection, he concluded that most of the space inside the atom is empty. And since some alpha particles are deflected in very small angles, indicating that positive charge of the atom is concentrated in very small portion of the atom. Since only some alpha particles were deflected, he concluded that positive charge of the atom is concentrated in the very small portion of the atom. And the positive charge, and look at here, some alpha part means a very small fraction of alpha particle deflected by 180 degree. Very small fraction of alpha Note here, a very small fraction of alpha particle deflected by 180 degree. What does it indicate? It indicates that positive charge and all the mass of the atom is within a small volume in the nucleus, small volume within the atom. All the positive charge and mass of the atom is within the small volume within the atom. So he made these conclusions, and he also calculated that the nucleus in the center, in the sense what features he formulated or postulates or features of Rutherford's model of atom is, first of all, what according to these observations of this experiment, he formulated the features of his model. What are the features of Rutherford's model of atom? First feature is the atom consists of a positively charged center called the nucleus, and all the mass of the atom resides in the nucleus. This is the first feature, and the first one to give the name of the nucleus in the atom is Rutherford, and he also calculated the size of the nucleus also. He calculated that radius of the nucleus is 10 to the power, radius of the nucleus is about 10 to the power 5 times less than. Nucleus is 10 to the power 5 times less than the radius of the atom. The radius of the atom. So, based on his experiments and conclusions, he calculated that the radius of the nucleus is 10 to the power 5 times less than the radius of the atom. So, nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom. That is another feature of Rutherford's model, and how electrons revolve around the nucleus. According to his model, what he explained, electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular paths. So these are the features of Rutherford's model of atom. Let us sum up and write the features of Rutherford's model of atom. Very important, children. Write these points in your notebook. What are the features of Rutherford's model of atom? First feature is an atom consists of a positively charged center called the nucleus. Positively charged center called the nucleus. And all the mass of the atom resides in the nucleus. So what was his first feature? An atom consists of a positively charged center called the nucleus. All the mass of the atom resides in the nucleus. So now, second one is how the electrons revolve around the nucleus. Electrons revolve around the nucleus, revolve round the nucleus in circular orbits or circular paths. And the last feature is the nucleus of the atom, size of the nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom. The size of the nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom. Very small compared to the size of the atom. How small it is? Its radius, means radius of the nucleus is 10 to the power 5 times smaller than the radius of the atom. So these are the features or postulates of Rutherford's model of atom. What are they? An atom consists of a positively charged center called the nucleus. All the mass of the atom resides in the nucleus and electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular paths, and the size of the nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom. So these are the features, but still his model has some limitations. What limitations his model has? Again, very important, children. The limitations of the Rutherford's model of atom. What are the limitations of Rutherford's model? See, he explained that electrons revolve round the nucleus in circular paths. Any particle in a circular orbit, it undergo acceleration. So, any particle in circular paths or circular orbits would undergo acceleration. And when during this acceleration, what happens? Charged particles radiate energy. What happens when the charged particles radiate energy? These electrons are the charged particles. When revolving round the nucleus, after radiating energy, they may lose energy and finally fall into the nucleus. And we know that atom is highly stable. But when this happens, means when the electrons revolving round the nucleus radiating energy, if they lose energy and fall into the nucleus, the atom becomes highly unstable. But we know that atom is quite stable. So these are the limitations of Rutherford's model of atom. Can you sum up? What are the limitations of Rutherford's model of atom? Limitations are, first of all, he said that electrons revolve round in circular paths. So, electrons revolve round the nucleus in circular paths. This is his feature of his model, nucleus in circular paths or orbits. So what is here? When any particle in circular path, means it is not expected to be stable. Not expected to be stable. Not expected to be stable. So, particles in circular path or circular orbit would undergo acceleration. Acceleration. So during this acceleration, what happens? During this acceleration, charged particles would radiate energy. So when electrons revolve round the nucleus in circular orbits, what happens? Electrons in circular orbits radiate energy means they lose energy and finally fall into the nucleus. Finally fall into the nucleus. Means, can we say now atom is stable? No, if this happens, atom cannot be stable. It becomes highly unstable. This is the drawback of Rutherford's model of atom. Means, we know now that atoms are highly stable. So, this could not be accepted. So, can you tell me now what are the limitations of Rutherford's model of atom? Whichever, he said that electrons revolve round the nucleus in circular paths. Any object or any particle in circular orbits, they would undergo acceleration. When they undergo acceleration, they radiate energy. So during their acceleration, charged particles would radiate energy. So after radiating energy, they may lose energy and finally fall into the nucleus. Here, electrons in circular orbits may lose energy and they may fall into the nucleus, so that atom becomes highly unstable. It is not at all that atom is highly stable. So these are the limitations. Now, to overcome the objections raised to Rutherford's model, Niels Bohr proposed his model of atom. Now let us learn the postulates of or features of Niels Bohr's model of atom. So, what are the features of Niels Bohr's model of atom or Bohr's model of atom? Niels Bohr proposed his model of atom in order to overcome the objections raised against Rutherford's model of atom. Now, Bohr's model of atom. Bohr's model of atom. What are the postulates of Bohr's model? Rutherford said that electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular orbits, but according to Niels Bohr, electrons revolve around the nucleus in special orbits called discrete orbits. So electrons in the discrete orbits would not radiate energy. So how the electrons revolve around the nucleus? According to Niels Bohr, electrons revolve around the nucleus in discrete orbits. What are the postulates of Bohr's model of atom? Postulates of Bohr's model of atom. First postulate is electrons revolve around the nucleus in special orbits called discrete orbits. Special orbits called discrete orbits. So this is continuous line and this is discrete line. So discrete orbits, electrons revolve around the nucleus according to, and electrons in the discrete orbits would not radiate energy. So electrons will not radiate energy electrons will not radiate energy when they revolve around the nucleus in discrete orbits. When revolving around the nucleus in discrete orbits, electrons will not radiate energy when revolving around the nucleus in discrete orbits, and these orbits are called These orbits are called energy levels or shells also. Energy levels or shells also. And which are the shells? How the shells are named? So according to Bohr's model, this is the nucleus of the atom. This is the first orbit or shell, second orbit or shell, and the third orbit or shell. See, and go on, fourth, fifth, like that. So this is the nucleus of the atom. Nucleus of the atom, and electrons revolve around the nucleus in discrete orbits. And what do we call these orbits? These orbits are called the energy levels or shells also. How are they named? Immediately. First shell after the nucleus is K shell. K shell, and its shell number n is equal to 1 for K shell, and shell numbers also 1, 2, 3, like that. So starting from immediately first shell after the nucleus is K shell, n is equal to 1. The next shell is the L shell, n is equal to 2. And the next is M shell, n is equal to 3. The next comes the N shell. We denote it in capital letters of English alphabet. First shell is K shell near to the nucleus. Next is L shell, and next is M shell, and next comes N, O, P, like that. We use the continuous alphabet from K. K shell is the first shell. K, L, M, N, and for that K shell n is equal to 1, that is the shell number. N is equal to 1, and for L shell n is equal to 2, and for M shell n is equal to 3. So like this, the electrons revolve around the nucleus in discrete orbits, which are also called energy levels or shells, and these shells are named as K, L, M, and N. Shells are named as K, L, M, N, and so on. And for that, the shell number is N, we take it, is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Respectively, for K shell n is 1, L shell n is 2, M shell n is 3, N shell n is 4. So this is what Niels Bohr explained his model of atom. So according to Niels Bohr's model of, at least remember Bohr's model of atom. Very important. This diagram also very important. Draw it in your classwork. And the features or postulates of Bohr's model of atom is also very important. Bohr's model of atom, what are the postulates? Electrons revolve around the nucleus in special orbits called discrete orbits, and electrons will not radiate energy when revolving around the nucleus in discrete orbits. And what are these orbits called? Energy levels or shells, and named as K, L, M, N, and so on, and shell numbers for K, L, M, N 1, 2, 3, 4 respectively. So these are the postulates of Bohr's model of atom and the structure of Bohr's model of atom. Now let us learn the number of electrons that can be accommodated in each shell. How to calculate the number of electrons accommodated in each shell, means how to write. You have learnt in your previous class about distribution of electrons in various shells of an atom, electronic configuration. So how to, the rules that must be followed while writing the number of electrons in various shells of an atom. Let us see how to find the number of atoms that can be accommodated. Number of electrons that can be Rules to be followed. Rules to be followed. In distributing the electrons or in writing electrons and writing electrons in various shells. K, L, M, N and so on. So what are they? Number of electrons that can be accommodated in each shell, that can be accommodated in each shell can be calculated by a formula, can be calculated by a formula 2n square. Here n is nothing but n is shell number. Shell number. You have already learned n is 1 for K shell, 2 for L shell, 3 for M shell and so on. Now, how many electrons can be accommodated in K shell? Electrons that can be accommodated in K shell, 2n square. Electrons in K shell to be accommodated in K shell, 2n square. So here for K shell n is equal to 1. 2n square means 2 into n is 1, 1 square. That is equal to 2 into 1 square is 1, 2. So maximum of how many electrons can be accommodated in K shell? 2 electrons. If you consider L shell, n is equal to 2. Then 2n square means it is 2 into 2 square. So how much? 8 electrons can be accommodated in L shell. So if you consider M shell, here n is equal to 3, then 2 into 3 square. So how much? 2 into 9, 18 electrons can be accommodated in M shell. The same way in N shell, n is equal to 4. So 2 into 4 square, 32 electrons are accommodated in N shell. So this is how we calculate the number of electrons that can be, maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in various shells of an atom. Maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in K, L, M and N shell. What are the rules? First rule is according to Bohr and Bury proposed this, rules are formulated. So we must calculate the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in each shell, and accordingly the shells are filled in stepwise manner, and the outermost shell has 8 electrons, means it is called the octet. Let us learn the other rules in the next class, children. See you then. Thank you.